Hello, once again, and this is another episode of Furious Fourcast. I'm back out of the basement this week. I'm back upstairs. I've gone from the bookshelf of nerd to the stack of craft of my wife's over here over my shoulder. And so there's been quite a bit happening this week, so we'll get started right away. And we're going to welcome back Jeremy Pappas for another episode.
Hello, 2 in a row, like
That's
roaches. Right. It's hard to get rid of me.
Where's my spray?
Turn the lights on.
It doesn't work.
Oh.
Spray doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You need the roach motel?
No. I prefer the Roach Hilton, actually.
Roach Hilton. Also back with us this week is Max Parker from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette.
Hello, hello.
And back from doing God knows what last week. She was missing in action. It's Jen Bozier.
I don't even remember what I was doing last week.
I don't either. I remember you said you were doing something. I don't remember what it was.
I don't either, but it was something, and I remember it sucking because I was gone like all night, and I don't know what it was now. It was really important.
It was important, but it sucked.
Because we were talking about that the other night, and on Thursday I dragged ass at work all day, and people were talking about, we had a meeting that I totally forgot about because I was so exhausted because we were out all night, and I was like, what are we doing?
It's just like a Game of Thrones name.
Except I know my Game of Thrones names. I don't need people's sexual orientation to identify them.
Burn. Oh, so I guess
the joke.
For a lot of us, the big news this week, even though it may not have been necessarily big news because it's kind of been hinted at previously, is that there's a bunch of Star Wars cast announcements, and we're going to bring back all the old, and we do mean that both literally and figuratively, old Star Wars characters. We're going to have bring back Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, even Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, and Anthony Daniels as C-3PO.
And Kenny Baker.
And Kenny Baker as R2-D2. They're all back for Star Wars Episode 7 to be directed by J.J. Abrams. So what I mean is, my big question is the legacy of these characters, and I'll be honest, especially in terms of Harrison Ford and a couple of the other older cast members, their deteriorating acting abilities. Carrie Fisher. How big is this going to? How big of an impact is this going to be on Star Wars, especially when you've got this new blood coming in, all these young actors, all this old blood with their legacy, but deteriorating acting abilities. How do you think that's going to affect Star Wars Episode 7?
I think the most jarring transition will absolutely be Harrison Ford, because Harrison Ford carries those movies as far as acting goes and on-screen charm, and he carries that trilogy. And if you look at him in real life, in interviews now, or in any recent films he's done, he's like a walking corpse. Like, I don't know what has happened to this dude. I hope he brings his A-game, like resurrects his A-game for this movie, because I've heard rumors that he has a pretty substantial part. So I hope he can bring back that fire that he once had, because it's like all recent years and appearances suggest that it's gone.
Well, it's all kind of about the director, and J.J. Abrams can't direct worth shit. So.
Oh!
Well, he can't direct people. Like, whether or not you like the new Star Trek movies because you're, retarded, that's...
Wow!
I don't really care, honestly.
I hate everyone, and I wouldn't be that hard.
Blazing.
No, if you like the new Star Trek movies, whatever, but you cannot argue that there's a whole lot of great acting in those movies.
I disagree.
Oh my god!
I think there's a lot of on-screen charm.
Okay,
and a lot of
both the guys playing Kirk and Spock are basically reading off the script. Yeah. Like, they're reading like there's a teleprompter right next to the camera. Uhura, she always does pretty. Zoe Saldana always gives it her all. I'll give her that. Carl Urban, always awesome. Everybody else, it's like there's a teleprompter.
No. Chris Pine as a young Kirk is like a Han Solo type character in the first Star Trek. It's fine. Yeah.
Kirk shot first.
I'm so glad that you can remember their names.
I think he's great.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Can't remember who Marjorie Tyrell is, but we can remember Chris Pine.
I'm a Chris Pine fan.
Oh, wow.
There's no help for you. Actually, I really don't care about the new Star Trek movies, to be honest. J.J. Abrams, whatever. But it's going to really depend on the director, because I think a lot of people don't really direct Hans. The only thing I can think is that people don't direct Harrison Ford anymore. He basically just shows up to be Harrison Ford. Like, and I'm mostly thinking of
Bruce Willis
Ender's
does
Game.
that.
Yep.
Bruce
Yes,
Willis
a lot
does
of those
the same
actors
thing.
actually.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson does that. I
Yeah.
mean, but once you get to be a certain age, you basically just show up to be you.
Yeah.
Right, and that goes back to that fire that he had when he was younger. It's not like George Lucas was created Han Solo with his amazing.
It was all Harrison Ford.
Sure, yeah. So Harrison Ford has to find that again.
He was
And
the
I'm just-
puckish rogue.
I'm not sure, because Ender's Game kind of burned me on Harrison Ford.
It
Because
wasn't
the
just
whole
Ender's
time
Game.
he's just too old to be here for this shit.
Every recent movie he's done.
Yeah, it was what was the one?
That was kind of that official, though. He's done.
Yeah.
That movie was just, it's like,
I would
okay,
say
you're
that
just too
movie
old,
was
tired for this
Cowboys
shit.
versus Alien.
Cowboys versus Alien was bad.
Are we
He
actually
was
going to
bad in
count that,
too.
though? Oh my
That was
god.
good.
Indiana
Yeah.
Jones.
That was bad, too.
Hollywood Homicide.
Indiana Jones, he was great in Indiana Jones, because there's only 3 Indiana Jones movies. So I don't know what you're talking about.
But J.J. Abrams is a way better character director than George Lucas. Can we say
Fallon? Oh,
Yeah,
dude,
that's not saying
a
much.
lot.
That's-
No, that's not saying a lot.
this? The bar is low.
That's
Yeah.
like saying a 5th grader's smarter than a kindergartner. Really?
I still don't want him working on my car. I mean, I don't think they'll get they'll be as bad as the prequels if I have to project reviews for movies that haven't even been fully conceived yet. Will be as bad as the prequels, if only because George Lucas isn't going to be there to George Lucas everything up.
I think,
Yeah,
can we all agree on that, though? Like, can we agree that no matter what happens, 7, 8, and 9, they just cannot be as bad as 1, 2, and 3?
Right.
Well, I wouldn't say no matter what happens, but
one of the
The
rumors coming out
likelihood is
that-
low.
One of the rumors coming out about episode 7 is that they're actually doing a lot more physical sets
Yes.
versus all the green screening
Mhm.
from the prequels.
Yes.
That
Just
made me
doing that,
excited
I
to
think, will help, because you could tell the actors in the prequels were just
Yeah.
they didn't know what to act against.
Except
No.
Ewan. Ewan always brings the A game.
I
And
don't
they
even
have
think I don't even think
Maxwell
he
Sydow.
I don't even
What?
think he could.
Yeah, even Ewan McGregor, it's not his strongest. Like, if you wanted to show people how great of an actor Ewan McGregor is, you would never grab episodes
Yeah,
1, 2,
you
and
wouldn't
3.
Right.
point to that at all.
I think, well, because nobody else brings the A game, I think he pretty much carries episode 3.
Fair enough.
But how far does he carry it? Like 4
Yeah.
steps? I mean,
Again, the bar
episode
is
3
low.
doesn't go.
He gets
Right,
it through
episode
the
3
door.
doesn't go far. I mean, the problem with Lucas is he doesn't like to get out. He's not a young guy anymore. He doesn't like to get out there and direct and go out to Tanzania or Tunisia and do that stuff. He wants to sit in nice air conditioned with his monitors and his coffee and his chair with George Lucas written on the back of it, and point at things and say, "Walk there. We'll just put stuff there." And that's one
imagine
of
it's
the
there.
reasons they were terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they're doing more, then I guess it'll be good. I'm not a fan of J.J. Abrams as a character director
Thank you.
or as a movie maker. Though I
See?
didn't hate the first Star Trek movie. The second one was just balls awful.
Awful!
The first one wasn't bad.
Thank you.
I didn't
The
see.
second one was god awful.
I wasn't a fan of Super 8.
I didn't like
That
Super
movie
8
was
either.
terrible, too.
There's not much that he does that I like. And as a professional video editor, I'm gonna mention lens flares, but he really does abuse them a lot.
You think?
He toned it down.
really does. He toned it down for the first one. He amped it back up for the second one. The part where what's her face is talking to her dad, Admiral RoboCop, and the entire time there's just a lens flare on the bottom of the screen. I was looking for something sharp to cut my wrists. It really was.
If somebody makes toast in a J.J. Abrams movie, the toaster will flare.
It will bleed.
Flare, toast.
Well, let's talk about some of the new cast though, because there's actually some.
That's exciting.
In there. We've got Emperor Ming, Max von Sydow.
Mhm.
We've got Gollum, Andy Serkis,
Mhm.
and they're joined by some relatively unknown actors, at least from my perspective.
Very.
John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac, and Domhnall Gleeson. are the new actors.
So,
obviously, this isn't going to be the entire cast, but these are the major characters.
Oscar Isaac is one of those guys that, like Andy Serkis, is a major character actor. Once you see him, you'll be like, I know that guy from somewhere. Mm-hmm. You do. He's in a lot of stuff. But the one kid, Adam, is from Girls, where he plays Adam. The other two, the two really young kids, Boyega and Ridley, Boyega was in that Attack the Block, awful movie. And then Ridley looks oddly like she could totally be young Harrison Ford's daughter.
Yeah.
She unknowns, which is kind of cool because that kind of feels like Episode 4, right? Like when Episode 4 first came out, you had Sir Alec Guinness and who? So this is kind of neat. Like I like that there's going to be actors that don't have baggage attached to them, like Episodes 1 through 3.
Right. So I mean, it'll be interesting because we don't quite know where it's going. Part of the reason we don't know where it's going is because Lucasfilm announced that they killed, not really killed, but basically everything that's happened in the extended universe so far, from comics to books to games, no longer considered canon.
It's been retconned.
Star Wars encyclopedia you got sitting on your shelf doesn't mean much anymore as far as the movies from here on out go.
And I think the reason they did it, I think, was that everyone pretty much assumed, let's be honest here, everyone pretty much assumed Heir to the Empire, the Thrawn trilogy, would be the next movies. Because the Thrawn trilogy, I'm not even a huge Star Wars person really, and the Thrawn trilogy is quite good. So I think everybody just kind of assumed that. So they had to do that because there's so much baggage attached to the EU. For every good book there were 7 or 8 just stupid books.
Yeah. And the EU is not something everyone gets into. I mean, and it's so huge, and I really like that by coming out and saying, listen, we recognize that it exists, but we're not going to try and live up to these expectations. They're going to avoid all of the problems with the nerds saying, oh, well, actually, that style of phaser wasn't introduced until Galaxy Year 1430 after the R7D4 units.
Exactly.
We can avoid, because now you can say, no, that wasn't canon, and then they can go nerd rage elsewhere. It's the 6 movies and then the clones cartoon.
Yeah, and they handled it really well, because it's not that it's gone away. It's just now under that Legends banner, which a legend is a story people believe to be true, but it can't be proven. So I think that was probably the nicest way that they could handle that. That's a cool legend, but it's not true.
Yeah, and they're also approaching it from the fact that this stuff isn't canon, but we may borrow from some of it too.
Right. It wouldn't shock me if they did.
Yeah, I think Heir to the Empire is definitely something that they'll borrow from, because obviously
Thrawn
are setting it up for the kids of Han Solo and Princess Leia to play some sort of role. We don't know why. We don't know their names, and I believe Adam Driver is supposed to be some sort of Sith. That's the rumor. So we'll see what happens.
It's exciting. I think it's cause to be exciting. Anytime there's new Star Wars news that doesn't involve George Lucas, it's probably exciting. Why not?
I will say, if there's any one positive from the original or from the prequels sucking as hard as they sucked, it's that I'm not really super looking forward to these movies. So when I go watch them, if they're okay, I can be like, man, that was okay. I saw a Star Wars movie today.
They only have up. That's the only way they can go with up.
Yep. Took them all the way down. Now, if they go halfway up, everyone will say how successful they were.
Yeah, you can go back and look at the original trilogy and say, and for nostalgia, even though Lucas kind of went and screwed those up too.
Really?
With all his silly edits.
Speaking of that, those are canon. Greedo shot first, midichlorians are a thing, and someone died of a broken heart. That's canon.
I prefer the machete order.
Lucas.
I prefer the machete order, actually, which means the first film never happened, and there are no midichlorians.
Yeah, I would have been really happy if they had announced a prequel wasn't canon.
Well, that wasn't going to happen.
All right, look, let's be honest here. Phantom Menace is a bit of a legend, too. But what if it just appears on shelves with the legend banner over it and nobody says anything? All of a sudden,
talk about it.
That would be the greatest Fight Club style guerrilla terrorism ever. Just go and paste the legend thing over all of Phantom Menace at your local Target.
So Jen, my question to you is Russell blowing up the General Lee not canon now?
Too soon, man. Too soon. That's totes canon.
For those that don't know, Jen and Russell, they occasionally do
And Jeremy.
And Jeremy do the Star Wars RPG tabletop game, and Russell is a bit of a demon as a dungeon master, and
we had a YT-1300, which for layman's term is the Millennium Falcon, and we named it the General Lee, a la Dukes of Hazzard, and it was our awesome ship, and we went and we did all this cool stuff, and you fucking blew it up. He didn't care. I thought my husband was going to just sob himself to sleep that night. And Jeremy laughed about it. Even when it happened, Jeremy laughed.
It was okay. I'm gonna come clean right now and tell you all that it was actually partially my idea.
It had to be because we had just turned over a casino and had like all this money that we had to get rid of. So.
Right.
And we got a cooler ship afterward anyway.
But
no way. There's nothing cooler than a Millennium Falcon.
Called the General Lee.
No, ours.
Our new ship was pretty cool.
Our first ship was pretty cool actually, but
it was necessary. But it was a great moment. It was one of those moments one of those insufferable tabletop gaming moments that you just will never forget and will talk about forever.
So one of the other, I guess, Disney stories today actually is a new Disney Infinity. Oh my God! They're giving us more reasons to blow our money.
Woo!
With a Marvel Superhero Edition.
Woo!
And it was revealed today. It'll be for the PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, PC, iOS, Wii U. No Wii. Wii doesn't get it.
Nope. Isn't that a bummer?
Not really.
No.
I mean, the Wii can't do anything. I mean,
No.
I feel sorry for one of my friends, my daughter's friends. She has the Wii version of the Disney Infinity, and it plays like crap.
Yeah. My brother also the same situation. Like actually, just a couple months ago, bought a Wii just for Disney Infinity without consulting me, which like kind of was like a bummer. I'm like, come on, I know a little bit about this stuff. You don't know anything about this. I do. Just ask me, and he didn't. So I'm kind of secretly happy that he won't get to. My nephew won't get to enjoy the Disney Infinity 2.0.
You asshole.
My godson will not be able to enjoy it, and I'm secretly happy because I'm horrible.
Happy.
God,
you can go talk to your nephew now and just like, you know.
They call that Schadenfreude.
Yes. Yep.
So, I mean, with this announcement, basically, so far they've announced the Avengers, basically Thor, Captain America, Black Widow, yada, yada, yada.
Did you guys see that CVG and GameSpot both reported that it would include the Hulk, Iron Man, Black Widow, Captain America, Green Arrow.
Whoops!
What?
Journalism!
IGN also reported that the Wii it was coming to the Wii.
Wow.
Come on!
It's times like that I'd like to run the DC Twitter. Just to say, wait, what now? Last time I checked, that was mine. I owned that.
Nobody knows who copied from who, but obviously either GameSpot copied CVG or CVG copied GameSpot.
We need a nerd injection.
And they changed it. But the comments, it's like just like 3 pages of comments going, "It's Hawkeye, stupid."
He's not even green.
Yeah.
Green Arrow was legitimately green. See?
But I guess that's somebody like. Someone was like, "Oh, the dude with the bow and arrow. What's his name again? Oh, isn't there a show for him on CW? Arrow, Green Arrow, Green Arrow. That's who it is."
And Hawkeye,
you know that conversation happened.
And Hawkeye has been in multiple Marvel movies now. I mean, these aren't fringe characters anymore. This is ridiculous.
I just wanted to write in and be like, "Hi, Avengers much? Do you live under a rock? Did you not see the Avengers?"
It made some money. I think they put it in theaters. I forget, but
it was a little underground. You may not have heard of it.
Crazy.
So yeah, I mean that's basically they're not. A lot of people a lot of the comments I saw was that we're the classic Disney characters. I want the classic Disney characters, and so it's like two camps. Like a bunch of people happy that they're getting Marvel heroes, something different, and others that are more upset that they're not seeing the classic Disney characters. Does it?
What classic Disney characters do they want to see?
They want to see like the old school Disney, like the Walt Disney characters.
Daffy, Donald, Goofy.
All Disney's Frozen Corpse figurine.
Daffy.
Are you gonna give Bambi a fucking lightsaber?
Did you just say Daffy?
Me?
Huh?
Who?
Jen, you just said Daffy.
Donald?
You said Daffy, Donald.
Donald, Goofy.
You said Daffy,
Daisy.
Donald,
I said
Goofy.
Daisy.
The Green Arrow.
Green Arrow.
I said Daisy. Daisy Duck.
Mickey.
My big question though, the princesses were supposed to be coming out.
That's right. That's right.
Princesses.
Well,
Other than Rapunzel.
I think there's a possibility that they will come out with more sets with the.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
With the princess, because if you freeze like they had during the announcement today, if you froze one frame, you could see Maleficent, you could see Stitch, and you could
awesome.
You also saw Merida from Brave in the background.
Here's the big question though. Will 2.0 improve gameplay?
You stole my point.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's
well, it's
Max. What do you wonder most about 2.0?
That was always the weak link. Like this was always an awesome concept, and then terrible gameplay. Like if you can just get some of that Lego Marvel Heroes, which is a game I love. Like, if you can just get some of that gameplay into this, I'll be happy, because it needs to be good. This gameplay was bad.
Yeah, they actually seem to address one of the common complaints, which was that you couldn't take one character from one playset and put them in another.
Right.
So they said that with this, that some, not all, but some of the Marvel characters can go from one Marvel playset to another.
One Marvel playset to another Marvel playset?
Yeah. Because they had the Avengers
Marvel
playsets. They had the Avengers playset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they also, in the trailer, they showed Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
They showed Spider-Man. So they'll have playsets for those too, presumably. Right. So some of them can kind of move around between the playsets. Suppose that's what they said. We don't know to what degree yet.
Yeah.
They're also making improvements to the toy box mode. It's much larger. It's got a lot more brushes. You can do interiors now.
Could you actually go into buildings? Because that was the other complaint.
Yeah, you can go into buildings.
You will be able to go into buildings, but you can't go into them.
Yeah,
right.
You can go into You will be able to go into buildings now. You can build out dungeons and caves and your own rooms and all this other content inside the toy box. So I guess the interiors will be part of the regular modes playsets as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
This is a lot of. It's a big announcement, but there was a ton of PR speak. There's no details about how this game is actually going to be improved on the original. I would like button mapping. That would be awesome.
Oh, so you mean that Y isn't your primary action button for all the things?
Spectacular. I love that.
That you know what I think.
Well, actually, if they just do that one thing, if they just make A the jump button instead of Y, that will probably.
We should make Y the jump button. Said no one ever.
Yeah, like you've never played a video game before ever.
Well, the fact that that's your primary action button, like this gets out, this fights, this jumps, this gets your equipment out. Like
it's like X is attack, A is jump. Where have you been for the last decade?
It sounds like something so little and something you would get used to. You never get used to it.
You never get used to it.
Because every other game you play reinforces it the other way.
Right.
Yeah, our brains have been wired a certain way after decades of playing.
Well, especially in the Incredibles playset. That's where it was the worst, because you had the little hoverboard thing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't tell you how many times you'd be tooling around the hoverboard and you're like, oh, let's jump off and go fight these guys. Nope, I'm back on the hoverboard.
Yeah, all the time. Yep.
It's like, terrible.
So one of the things you may have, some people may have missed in the announcement trailer, and it wasn't in the trailer, this was the live stream announcements, they showed a picture of a Disney princess holding a lightsaber.
Mm-hmm. It was Rapunzel from Tangled, if memory serves me.
It was Rapunzel. So the implication is that this year is Marvel. Next year, with the release of Star Wars 7, will be the Star Wars edition of Disney Infinity.
Right now, they'll probably throw us some bones, like lightsaber power disc.
Power disc or something, yeah.
Yeah, and then will come the characters.
I'm kind of excited for that, actually.
I'm actually on my side. I'm really bummed that you can't use. You basically have to go out and buy a whole new starter pack again with this. The Skylanders, the new Skylanders game is doing the same thing. You have to buy a new starter pack. The base doesn't look all that different to me, so I'm trying to figure out what it is about what's so special about the base that is forcing me to buy a new starter pack.
Well, and keep in mind that all your power discs and all your characters will be compatible with that.
But not the playsets. The playsets will not be the playsets from the original Disney Infinity will not be compatible with the new Disney Infinity.
I thought they were.
They're not. Not the playsets. The disc.
Are
the
you
power
kidding
disc.
me? I thought that they were too.
No,
I sent an email to the PR and I asked them what from the old set is compatible, or is any of the new stuff compatible with the old power pad, and I got the response back that the discs, the characters, and some of the other stuff is compatible from the old version to the new version, but not the playsets.
Ooh, how about this? Since we're talking about backwards compatibility, will figurines for, say, Xbox 360 be compatible with the Xbox One? They will.
Well, yeah, we just said that. Because right now, you can take your figures on your PS3 and play them on my Xbox 360.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And they'll carry one of the other neat features that they announced is that all of the stats and abilities that you've unlocked for that character will carry over as well. And they're also the current level limit is 15. They're going to up that to level 20.
Oh,
They've
nice.
got some new new level branches that you can explore.
Yeah.
As well. So.
Yep. So yeah, it looks like it's going to add some more depth, much needed depth to the Disney Infinity recipe. So I hope they can pull it off.
Well, and here's one other thing I have. One other question I still have open is, are they going to bring out more female characters? Because the biggest complaint I had with Disney Infinity was the lack of female characters for the longest time.
Yeah.
Well, and lack of female characters in a play set.
Yeah.
Because the Frozen girls came out for Toy Box.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have to admit that I was very happy that they have Black Widow. Because when they first teased that they were going to have the Marvel characters, I was like, yeah, everybody but Black Widow. I was actually quite happy that they're going to have Black Widow.
And she's going to be part of the starter pack, so...
That's very smart.
Yeah, so you will have your girl player, at least one girl player covered.
Oh,
that was actually a problem I had. I mean, my daughter, she refused to play some playsets because there wasn't a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Susan, too, she would not play Pirates.
Yeah, she didn't want to play Tonto or Lone Ranger. She only wanted to play it ended up being
Violet.
Incredibles. Yeah, it ended up being Incredibles all the time because that was the only one that really had. That was the only one that really had girl characters for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, also, a quick point. It's cool they got Brian Michael Bendis to write the stories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Help with the stories. Because he's awesome.
One other response I got back from the Disney PR was that the PS4 and Xbox One versions, you will be able to do more in the toy box with those versions. You'll be able to build more complex things and bigger things in the PS4 and Xbox One versions versus the last gen and the Wii U version.
How about the iOS version? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I sometimes I mean the iOS version for Disney Infinity was basically tooling around the toy box. It wasn't much of anything.
Yep.
Anyway, so I mean, and I guess in other kid-friendly stuff, Nintendo, and one of the funniest E3 announcement videos I have ever seen.
Funny intentionally?
I thought it was. I mean, I thought Reggie Fils-Aimé was hilarious. Am I the only one?
Yes.
Yeah, apparently, the way he was walking as a robot through. I mean, it was unintentional humor because the way he was walking as a robot through the Nintendo offices was just had me dying laughing. I mean, the stuff that was supposed to be funny wasn't all that funny, but the work that they did with Mega 64 was unintentionally funny.
Unintentionally funny, yeah, but it was more embarrassing.
Sure, yeah.
Like the whole time I'm just sitting there like, oh, God.
I have seen a lot worse as far as like corporate announcement video goes than that. That was decent. And the humor, I thought Reggie was a lot. I loved the way he was walking. It just cracked me up, and the way he was acting. But that's just me. But anyways, what they're doing for E3 is they're going to do a big and I think they're smart doing this because this is their big heavy hitter for the year, and that's Super Smash Brothers. They're doing a Super Smash Brothers Invitational Tournament at E3. I know Jen doesn't care, but there are a lot of people that do.
I care.
Like Max. And I know Jen doesn't care that Max cares.
That is not true, Max. I'm so happy for you. In fact, I'll text you after you see it. I'll be like, oh.
And not only that, but they're also going to give people the chance to play Super Smash Brothers at their local Best Buys. So that's a nice touch. However, they're not doing the big on-stage press conference again this year. That they didn't do it last year. Sony and Nintendo did. Sony and Microsoft did. And so I guess my question is does doing a press stage event matter, or is it more about are they going to have anything compelling to announce?
It matters. I think it still matters. Even in the digital age, it matters. Even when you can live stream it for everybody else to see it, it matters. There's a frenzy that's difficult to describe when something is being unveiled on a live stage for the first time for everybody to see. We saw it with the Xbox One announcement and the PS4 announcement. There's just this crazy, just an explosion of information that's flying out at the same time for everybody, and you can't capture that with the Nintendo Direct. Very scripted, everything by the book, but shaped exactly how Nintendo wants it. It doesn't capture that, so I think press conferences still do matter.
Yeah. Right, but at the same time, you don't have those. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I was going to say there are sort of two schools of thought. Sure, they could do their own press conference, the day before, the day after Microsoft and Sony, but then they're going to be compared to Microsoft and Sony. And from a company standpoint, it seems like it would make a lot more sense to just do the announcements on their own time. The news is the news, and let Microsoft and Sony fight it out with their new media boxes, and let them continue to, have people ask them when the new Metroid game is coming out. I mean, so they're sort of
Zelda, Metroid.
It's good to be in the cycle when games are the big story, but I think Nintendo looks at it and goes, listen, the people that are really interested in us doing a press conference, a news conference, not a press conference because there are cameras, a news conference is the hardcore game crowd, and if we're not really going to say something the hardcore game crowd's going to love, maybe we should just skip it and do our own thing.
Yeah, I'm more of the school of thought that if they've got, whether they do a stage demo, whether they do a live stream, this year especially, Nintendo has to come with something compelling. The Wii U is dying on the vine. They can afford to let it die on the vine because they got a ton of cash in reserve to hold them over. Nintendo 3DS is pretty much carrying everything right now, but even its lineup for the rest of the year isn't looking as good as last year's. So they've got to come out with something strong for the 3DS and the Wii U, and it doesn't matter if it's a stage demo or if it's a live stream. What do you think? Do you think they should do? Do you think it matters if they do a stage demo or a live stream?
Not doing a stage demo for the second year in a row just perpetuates this stigma that Nintendo has had for the last couple of years now, that they just hate the media and they don't care, and they'll just do things the way they're not changing.
But, part of the reason they didn't do anything last year is because they didn't do anything on stage last year is because they knew Microsoft and Sony were coming with huge announcements. Mm-hmm. They would not have anything to compare with it, and they didn't. Their announcements were very uncompelling last year. So I'm just wondering. I don't know what they need to do, but they've got to come up with something interesting because they did that today. So today they announced Mario Kart 8, and to show you what kind of dire straits Nintendo is in trying to get people to buy a Wii U, they're offering a free game with Mario Kart 8.
So ridiculous. A game that's already going to sell on its own.
Yeah.
You don't need to do this. The audience is there.
I could understand doing it with the bundle if they said, okay, you can get Mario Kart 8 with the Wii U bundle and a free game, because they got to sell Wii U's, period. They've got too many of them sitting around. And I don't know if, I mean, it's included as part of the bundle. There's not that many Wii U owners out there already. There's only like 4 or 5 million worldwide. So, I don't know. And those 4 or 5 million Wii U owners are probably all hardcore fans who are waiting for a compelling game like Mario Kart 8 to come along.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It makes no sense. I don't understand where this. I mean, this came out of left field, really. Especially for Nintendo, who never drops the price for their first-party games ever. They always stay full price, pretty much, and then they're just giving away a free game with their biggest, I guess, potential system seller for the Wii U since ever.
Since the wonderful 101. Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Pikmin, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, even Pikmin wasn't. I never saw Pikmin as a system seller. It's a very niche game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably Mario, I would think.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. They've. I want Nintendo to have a competitive console, because I think what we're seeing, I mean, we're seeing it today. What the PS4 got a nice software update with a lot of nice features added to the system, and a lot of that was in response to what Microsoft has done with the Xbox One. Microsoft has done stuff to the Xbox One in response to what Sony's done to the PS4. Mm-hmm. Nobody is responding to what Nintendo's doing anymore.
No.
Because they're not offering any competition.
Right.
And I think Nintendo could sell themselves if they said, this is a machine you play games on. It's not a machine you watch Netflix on. I guess you can. It's not a machine that you check your Facebook on. It's a machine you play games on. They're the only company that's currently selling an actual game, like a game machine by itself. Mm-hmm. So, but they're not really. They're really kind of holding back. My theory from the middle of last year that I posited on my own podcast was that they were really trying to do that Wii thing where they came out with a casual Wii thing. Everyone said, look how brilliant they are, they made all the money. They're thinking, people are moving away from their TVs, so we're going to move into our 3DS. And they started to sort of decentralize the Wii U, but now they've kind of turned back on themselves and they say, oh, well, here's the Wii U again. So I'm a little bit at a loss as of what they were. I thought moving toward the handheld was not a bad idea.
No, they dominate handhelds.
Oh,
right?
yeah, they do.
Pro competition.
And moving all their stuff over there is great, but they're moving back to Wii U now. So
yeah, it's this whole Wii U conundrum. It's the selling point wasn't that it was powerful, and that excuse for that was it has this gamepad. Well, none of these games that are coming out use the gamepad in any creative way. So that's like, it's just a controller now.
And the other problem is it's still expensive.
Right.
Though, and we've talked about this before, this was the first time that Nintendo's ever met resistance with a console. Every console they've ever made is sold like gangbuster, other than the Virtual Boy. But I mean, in recent memory, right? You had the SNES, you had the N64, came out with the GameCube, that sold like gangbusters. Wii, holy crap, Wii. Okay, sure. And then they came out with Wii U, and people were like, over it. Yeah. It's expensive. Mm-hmm. It's no Nintendo. Games. And I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Nintendo fans, but the Wii U is the equivalent of the PS3 or Xbox 360. It's not. It's not a next-gen console. It's a last-gen console, which is fine because the Wii was always a last-gen console during last gen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, they're going to Nintendo's going to have to hold serve with the Wii U by coming out with. They're going to be the only ones making games for it, basically. Mm-hmm. For the next 3 to 4 years until they can come up with a new console.
But you know what?
And the question for me is, are they going to try and compete with Microsoft and Sony at that time, or are they going to go low end and try to compete with the Amazon's Fire console?
They can't. And the thing with Nintendo, and this is another thing this is the first time that their first party shit's not working for them. Like, every console of theirs has been saved. Remember, the 3DS didn't really take off until that first Mario game came out, and then Zelda, and that's always been their thing, is let's just hold on, ride out the wave, and then a Mario and a Zelda game is going to come out. We'll be everybody's darling again, because for some reason that's how the news, especially the games media, it's how it works, right? Everybody's like, oh my god, Mario, it's the greatest thing ever. I love Nintendo so much. And then a few months later, oh my god, Zelda! Like, we flip out and we freak out for them rehashing the same game for 30 years. And it seems like now we're kind of starting to get over that hump, where we're like, guys, we need more than this.
We're becoming immune to the nostalgia poison.
Well, especially and people know that I'm an Xbox gamer, but I'll give Sony their credit here. Sony's, we're still kind of rough into this next generation, right? Like, we're not really fully, I don't think it's in a full upswing yet, but Sony's done pretty well with having exclusives and getting stuff that's on PC and on PS4, right? I mean, they've really come out doing really well, and Xbox coming in second to them, and then Wii U, like, they're not even in third place at this point.
So one last thing about Nintendo is I'm concerned about them doing some sort of quality of life announcement at E3 and it falling flat on its face, just like remember the little thing on the fingers, the vitality
My body
sensor?
is ready.
Yeah.
Is that like the Wii Fit Pad or something like that?
Yeah, they hinted at quality of life stuff last year.
Yeah.
This would be the time to announce it.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything about that either since they hinted at it. So
I don't know, where is it going to fit? There's so much quality of life stuff out there already.
Yeah. And I think by and large, like, dance games do really well, right? Just Dance and stuff. I even love Just Dance, but even like fitness games on Xbox and other stuff, they don't do as well as we would think. Like, that still has an area. Like, if we want to work out and get healthy, we'll just go on a treadmill or go outside and play sports. Like,
I think that.
Or just not.
Right, exactly. Like, or we're just gonna sit our asses on our couch and have a Coke and a smile. Like, it's fine. And the quality of life.
Or a Mountain Dew and a bag of Doritos.
Doritos are so gross.
Oh, blasphemy.
But no, I think that stuff, it never did that well. But that also attracted more of the casual crowd. Like, my in-laws, they bought a Wii U because of the Fit thing and bowling. So they might be grasping at straws now and looking at their old playbook. Like, okay, well, what boosted Wii sales? Let's try this again.
I mean, if they come out with a bundle, they drop the price, they package it with all the Wii U Fit stuff. Wii U Fit, that sounds kind of dirty. If they package it all together and drop the price, they might try to recapture that lightning in a bottle they had with the Wii, where it seemed like everything they came out with, they were doing news stories about how elderly people were doing it, and it was helping them with their Alzheimer's.
The Wii U must cost a ton to manufacture, because they have been very resistant to dropping the price.
Yeah.
Well, remember they said that, because remember people had asked about them dropping the price, and they said no. They're at the point right now where they're just making a profit off of it.
Yeah, they were willing to drop the price on the 3DS from $250 to $170, and they admitted they weren't making a profit off of it at the time.
Yep.
It took about a half year to year before they started making a profit on it, but Wii U's been out for 2 years now.
Yep.
And they're still not willing to drop the price.
2 years, isn't that weird?
Really weird, actually.
I had to pause for a second because I was like, am I right in saying this is 2 years?
No, you're totally right, because they beat the PS4 and Xbox One by a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's insane.
And it has a comparable library to both of those systems, which have crap libraries.
It's true, actually. They won't reduce the price, and it has to be that gamepad. And much like, remember when Xbox One came out at a higher price point than PS4, they were like, oh, well, it's because of the Kinect. And people said, well, you package it without the Kinect. No, we will not package it without the Kinect. Wii U will not package without that gamepad.
You can't even buy gamepads in stores yet. You remember they were supposed to be able to connect 2 by now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was supposed to happen 6 to 7 months after the console released. Because if you hose, for people who don't know, if you hose your gamepad, you have to send off to Nintendo to get a replacement.
Yep.
Or if you decide you want a second one, gotta order directly from Nintendo.
The pricing is a mystery on those. No one, because they're not.
It really is. It really is. So, I guess the one last big kind of entertainment news we had, at least from a nerd perspective, is that it was confirmed. It's been hinted at because of casting, but we are definitely going to get a Justice League movie after Batman versus Superman. And once again, showing the difference in approach between Marvel and DC, Zack Snyder will be back to direct this one versus the, I guess, multitude of directors we've had in the Marvel universe.
Oh, no love for Zack Snyder on this podcast.
No.
I'm a Zack Snyder fan, but I was not a fan of Superman.
Man of Steel was just a bad movie.
Man of Steel was garbage.
Yeah, I was not a fan.
Utter garbage. The thing that insulted me the most about Man of Steel is that we've been making Superman movies for longer than any other superhero movie franchise, and they still don't understand that the way you do Superman is not Jesus. It's weird alien. You don't do Jesus Superman because Jesus Superman's boring as hell and no one wants to watch it.
Well, that's
weird
why
alien Superman.
That's why I personally have never been a fan of Superman because he's basically a god, and that's really not that dynamic or interesting to me.
That's Jesus Superman, which you can't do.
Right.
No, I mean, some people have done a more human Superman, and that's a little more interesting, a little more alien.
Right. Alien Superman is great, trying to fit in. And
I'm tired of God Superman, and I think, so Superman, like, as Jesus figure is not that interesting, and unfortunately, that's pretty much where everybody wants to go, is making him, to take Zack Snyder, literally, Man of Steel.
The one saving grace of Man of Steel was that the action was really pretty freaking awesome.
Ooh.
I thought the way they did the super abilities between Superman and Zod and his troops was very well done. It was very convincing that these are really superhuman people, and I think that was the first Superman movie that we've seen that in. That it was somewhat convincing. None of the other ones were.
I went the other way with the action. There were these two superhuman gods, pretty much, just beating the hell out of each other, and there were no set parameters for what caused actual harm to these guys. Are they vulnerable at all? So it's like Neo fighting Mr. Smith. Just beating the hell out of each other, and it doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, he got thrown through the building.
Exactly.
Going to get up, he's fine. Like, it's...
Not only that, Snyder kind of likes that fast action where you don't really know what's going on. Like, it's not as bad as, say, Michael Bay, where it's like, I have no idea what just happened there.
It's shades of Michael Bay.
But I
call it kicking a washing machine. I described the first Transformers movie as two robots talk, and then you look at footage of a washing machine being kicked down a flight of stairs, and one of them somehow won.
That's amazing.
I mean... That's what it was.
But at the same time, while I'm in the Max position where I'm the only one that liked the action. At the same time, I said, how in the hell can Batman face up against something like that? Because it was almost too godlike.
Right.
Way too fast.
It definitely was. The thing that I left with and had during watching the movie was, how many people are they going to kill?
Oh, that was everybody.
Oh, everybody.
To punch each other.
And that's that's the thing that there was an interview recently with Zack Snyder. It was AKA also that will go down in the history as the worst interview ever. It was on Forbes, and the person interviewing it was a Zack Snyder fanboy, and basically just told Zack Snyder how amazing he was, and then he said, he's like, there was a little bit of controversy. People got a little irritated with the ending, and Zack Snyder, of course, totally missing the point. Big surprise to anyone. Was like, Superman kills people in the comics all the time. You can't be angry about him killing Zod. And it's like, you know what? I don't think anyone gave a shit that he killed Zod. It was the 50 billion other people he decided to kill on a whim.
Oh. Yeah.
I think that's probably where we kind of had a problem. Like him killing that one dude after killing half of New York. It was kind of like, whatever.
Right.
Like that was just kind of a drop in the hat.
All right. So going back to the Justice League films, so far for Batman versus Superman, we have cameos of Wonder Woman and Cyborg confirmed.
Yep.
So I guess the question is, we also have a Flash TV show, a Green Arrow TV show, who is not Hawkeye,
Because he's green, you see.
How will these characters fit in with a Justice League movie?
It's not going to be all encompassing.
Yeah,
No.
Like Marvel and Shield.
No, like they don't have the Agents of Shield is not tying in.
Right.
Is tied into the Marvel movies, or I don't think they're going to have that with the TV shows.
No.
And-
I don't think Arrow will be, just to keep Arrow specifically, I don't think Arrow will be at all involved in this whole thing.
I don't either.
That's living in a completely different world than this whole deal, thankfully, because Arrow's garbage. Sorry.
Oh, I thought people liked Arrow. I've never.
I like Arrow because
It's a guilty pleasure.
terrible,
People
but
do.
it's like
I
good
don't.
terrible because it
Yeah,
cracks
I
me
don't
up
like
every
it.
episode. Oh, come on, you don't like the police detective who delivers every single line out of his mouth like he just walked in on his wife and best friend fucking? Everything that comes out of his mouth, like, I need to get a sandwich. Always so dramatic. Everything. It just, I love it. It cracks me up so much. It makes me happy. I'm like, this is so bad. I love it.
He did. He played the wizard guy, and I can't remember his damn name now. He played the wizard guy.
That wizard guy.
What was his name? Oh, God, what was his name? Russell would kick me in the face. He's such a huge fan.
And what?
The guy that plays the detective played this wizard
In what?
in a show and in a book series
We're in Max territory here.
that it was based on.
He
If
was that
Russell's
guy?
watching this, he's screaming at the TV. Or he's screaming at his
This one
computer.
guy in this one movie, and
Well, it's like a modern day wizard story, and he has a hockey stick and a drumstick instead of a staff and a wand.
Did he like-
Dresden Files. He played Harry Dresden.
Dresden. Oh yeah, that movie. Those books are so awful.
There was a short-lived Dresden Files TV show that the guy that plays the detective played, and
I
he
could
was
actually-
really good in it.
I could see him totally being.
Yeah, and he was pretty good. So
Anyways, the thing that the Justice League movie will have to do is take a note from the Avengers, and that one of the reasons that the Avengers work is that they found that perfect balance of ensemble cast where you have a lot of characters but not too many characters. Because if you started to go if you actually tried to pull in all of Justice League, oh my God,
Oh yeah.
it would get
Well, I
so
think
bogged down.
it would have to be the core Justice League.
Right.
Right, like
Batman,
Cyborg,
Superman, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, maybe.
Lantern.
Maybe.
yeah, you need Green Lantern, probably Jean, but beyond that,
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they do Jean. Well, actually, no, because Zack Snyder will ruin it. So I hope they don't do Jean because.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, it's two very different approaches. Marvel has steadily taken their time to introduce all these characters in their own shows. They're trying to use Superman to funnel in characters and then shove them into a new Justice League movie. I guess the question is, will it work? Will it bring? I think it's going to bring viewers, but they'll put butts in the theater. But is it going to pay off at the same way as Marvel does?
I'm
no.
gonna reserve judgment until I see Batman and Superman.
That's not fun. What are you doing on the internet?
Batman and Superman's going to be terrible, assuming that.
I have high hopes for that.
I'm sorry for you.
What?
I
You
do
like
not
Zack
have
Snyder,
high
though.
hopes.
I do not have
No,
high hopes
I
either.
do not have high hopes.
Okay.
And
All right,
it's
so
not going to be.
we're running along, so let's hustle into some buy, skip, or wait. This is we skipped it last week, haha. So this is our little game where we play. We try to quickly say something that's either just come out or is coming out, and are we going to buy it? Is it something we want to skip, no one should see, or just wait for a discount, wait for it to come out on DVD, wait for whatever? So first up, for Nintendo 3DS, it's actually coming out tomorrow, is Mario Golf World Tour for the Nintendo 3DS. Max, buy, skip, or wait?
I can't tell you. I haven't played a second of it.
Haven't played.
Reviews are good. I'd say buy.
Buy? Wait for the review. Jen, what do you say?
Skip. I'm not really into the Mario Sport titles at all, so it's not my thing. So skip.
Jeremy?
Bye. Mario Golf was really good. The original one was actually a lot of fun, and from what everyone's saying, this one's really fun too. So.
Yeah, I'm actually reviewing it right now. I would say buy if you like golf games. It's been a long time since Mario Golf has come out. This is worth getting for $35. All right, next up we have The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the video game. Jen.
Skip. The movie looks like crap. Why would I play the game?
You're Skip of all these. You always skip.
You know what? I'm probably going to be Skip on a lot of the stuff tonight. That's actually a true story.
Jeremy.
Wait. On the other hand, I think Amazing Spider-Man 2 looks like it could be pretty decent. But I was in the minority in liking the original Amazing Spider-Man movie. And the Spider-Man 2 video game for Xbox was incredibly good. So
that was so long ago.
Yeah, but it was really good, and that was the last console that I owned. So
Max, what do you say?
I say buy, because Spider-Man actually has a fantastic record when it comes to video games. Spider-Man has a ton of awesome video games.
That's true.
I've never played a Spider-Man game I didn't like, actually. Not that I can think of. So buy, yeah.
Next up, we have another Nintendo 3DS game. It's actually coming out over the weekend, and that is Kirby Triple Deluxe. Jeremy.
I'll say wait, because I have not heard anything about this. So I'm gonna wait until I do.
Reviews actually come out for it tomorrow, so I'm kind of cheating.
Oh.
Max.
Again, haven't heard any buzz, but like Spider-Man, Kirby has a pretty decent record when it comes to quality games. So probably buy.
Jen?
Probably buy. I have a soft spot for Kirby, and as Max said, Kirby's typically pretty solid. And actually, you are incorrect, because Joystick just published their review on it and gave it 4 out of 5. So.
Oh no, yeah, the reviews for it are out. I already published my review, and I say it's a buy.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna buy.
It's really fun and makes great use of the 3D effect. It has a foreground and background on the levels that Kirby can move in between. It's a lot of fun, good use of the 3D effect, very colorful, and you can't help but not like Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He's just cute.
He's an anthropomorphic balloon. How do you not like anthropomorphic pure joy?
Exactly. All right, next up. So Microsoft announced this week that they're bringing out a Xbox Originals TV. Basically, a lot of different series. Some of it sounds very sci-fi channel-esque, but we're also getting in there. We're getting the Halo TV series from Spielberg, a Halo digital feature from Ridley Scott. We're getting a documentary on Atari, which spawned the whole E.T. dig thing this past week. So what do we say? Is that a buy, skip, or wait, Max?
The TV.
Just the whole concept of
TV.
Xbox TV.
Yeah, no, sell. I don't like the games they picked to make TV shows, to base their TV shows off of.
Hey, but people like that Halo stuff.
Right, yeah, I know. It feels kind of rushed. Ridley Scott isn't anywhere near as good as he used to be. So sell.
Well, he's just producer. He's not directing.
He still sucks. Sell.
And I'm the asshole. I just like to say that.
He's aged poorly. Sell.
It's a valid point.
Jeremy.
Skip, you are not Netflix. Do not pretend to be.
Yes.
Jen.
Wait, it could be good. I mean, worst case, it turns out it's good and you watch it, you know?
Yeah.
Or best case, it's so good you watch. Worst case, you just skip it.
I say wait. I want to find out what their whole revenue model is, how they're going to charge people. Is it just an Xbox Live Gold subscription? Is it you have to pay per episode? Is there going to be ad
That's
supported?
the big thing too, because I'm not paying to watch Halo shit.
Yeah, I want to wait to see what that is. Next up, Daylight. Jen.
Skip. I played it. I reviewed it. Skip it. Unless, you really like hackneyed locations and the most cliched, ridiculous, pants-on-head script ever. If you like that kind of stuff, then play it.
When are they going to come up with a horror series that is not based somewhere around in
a fucking asylum? I don't know. It's just like, you wake up in an asylum and this creepy guy is like, oh, you've got to find clues to figure out what happened here. And the first thing you do is you find this thing with, this doctor's come here and he has very strange practices. Oh, go on. Really, right
Max, Daylight.
Daylight, I have heard horror stories about this game.
Yep.
And
Oh, he planned that. He planned that.
He's been sitting there waiting to do that all night. I saw you had
Hovering
hang out
over.
effects. I'm like, why?
that was 2 days in the making. But
Oh my god.
yeah, no.
Max Parker, everyone.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be bad. So skip.
Jeremy.
I will defer to people who know better and say skip.
All right, and this next up is the one that inspired my tagline underneath my name here. I was killed once, but got better. Marvel announced that they're killing Wolverine later this year in a Death of Wolverine series. Jen looks very excited about this. What say you? Bye, skip early.
Bye. They're finally gonna kill Wolverine. I'm so excited.
But I'll say this in a minute. Go ahead, Max. Bye, skipper. Wait.
I'm confused on how this works because he's died before.
But I think they're gonna try and kill. Well, and that's the thing is that just like Superman, they're gonna make a big deal about killing him, and then like in a year they're gonna reboot him, or they'll go the Superman route. And does everybody remember the Return of Superman?
Right.
So
it's
how
meaningless.
permanent it's gonna be, I don't know.
Right.
But still, just watching him die. But they're making a big deal out of this, so I feel like maybe this is like for realsies, at least for a year.
Yeah, well, he's Wolverine is the golden child for besides Iron Man, as far as movies, like movie characters go. I mean, Hugh Jackman is all over the marketing for Days of Future Past. I mean, he's
the central character in the movie.
Right, yeah.
Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, so he's a big deal. So I don't know if I buy or skip. It's meaningless because he's going to come back at some point. So sell.
But what if he doesn't?
He will.
He will.
I'm going to be an optimist and just hope that they're going to kill him.
I'm looking at a picture right now of Hulk tearing him in half. That happened a while ago.
Oh, he got better.
He got better. He heals. No. Like, he heals from shit. So maybe this time they find a way to melt the adamantium in him, and then they just... Because that would melt his skin.
They've done that too.
Not to spoil that for you, Max, but Hulk actually threw the lower half of Wolverine's body on top of a mountain. Wolverine then climbed up that mountain, just his top half.
Can we not? Because this is so bad. Can we not?
Rejoin with his bottom half.
So, okay, look, I love comics, and I really do love comics, and I still read them, and I love them so much. But when we talk about events like this, I get embarrassed
Well, why does he have to
that I still like them and I still read them. So let's go ahead and not talk about that ever again.
Yeah. He's regrown limbs.
Okay, you know what? He's not a gecko.
Jeremy, Death of Wolverine by Skipper Wait.
In 2008, during the regular run of Wolverine, they did exactly the same thing they're doing now. In the kill Mystique thing, that he ends up not killing Mystique in, just basically going, I'm just going to decide not to kill you and go make a phone call, which totally happened. They did this exact same thing, so skip. He's going to be in movie theaters. You're not going to get away from Wolverine. He will always be there.
Yeah.
Skip.
Interestingly enough, he is dead in the Ultimate version of Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
And it's more permadead. He hasn't come back yet. Comics have gotten to be such a carnival barker thing where they've got to have the next hook. It's either someone's dead or someone's gay or someone's,
We're rebooting the series.
We're going back to number one.
Yeah.
They just did it with Spider-Man, with Superior Spider-Man, with Dr. Octopus taking over Peter Parker's body.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see good stories. I'm tired of the carnival barker nature of comic books today. It's why I don't buy as much. And when I do buy them, it's not necessarily the big titles of Marvel and DC as much anymore. All right, next up, Child of Light, which is the big artistic game of the week. Jeremy, what say you?
My buddy loves it. He says it's one of the most visually stunning games he's ever played, so I'll borrow his.
Jennifer.
I'm waiting on it just because I'm a little broke right now, so I need to wait for it to go down in price or something. But I really want to play it. Everybody I know who has played it loved it, and it looks gorgeous.
Max.
I'm about an hour and a half into it, and it is gorgeous. I worry that the combat will get repetitive, but we'll see. It is a new take on the turn-based combat system, so it's unique.
And lastly, we have Sci-Fi is jumping on a whole bunch of comic IPs, creating new series out of those. Ronin, Letter 44, and Clone. Jen, you're shaking your head. What's up?
I like Letter 44. I don't really like Sci-Fi Channel. I'm a very bitter Battlestar Galactica fan because somebody was all a group hallucination. Are you f***ing kidding me right now? I'm a little skeptical. Ronin, I'm positive for Ronin because I really like Ronin, so I'm gonna be like fingers crossed, but I don't have my hopes very high.
Jeremy.
You remember when Harry Potter came out, and then you'd go to the bookstore, and next to Harry Potter would be like Larry Squatter? That's what these are. Those one-off, oh, if you like this, you'll love this. Yeah, no.
Letter 44 is really good.
I'm sure it's good, but it's sci-fi, and they're gonna make it into Sharknado. Because if you like the Avengers, you'll like Letter 44.
I remember the steampunk series they tried to turn into some special episodes or special movies.
You're proving my point here.
Those really sucked. Anyways, Max, what about you? What say you? Are you even familiar with these comics?
Nope.
Nope.
I know nothing.
You know nothing,
Okay,
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow's the bastard in the north. He's got the wall
What does he like?
with the big furry coat.
Does he like men or women? What's?
No. He's the one that likes redheads.
He's the one who got to bang the hot-ass redhead.
Oh.
Damn straight.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up with a little what we're playing right now. Jeremy, what are you playing right now or reading?
Oh, I am reading a book by a guy named David K. Johnston about the U.S. tax code called I don't remember, but it's really good. It's about the U.S. tax code, so maybe I'm the only person who cares.
Max, how about you? What are you playing? Child of Light.
I'm playing, Child of Light, which I'm really having a difficult time pulling myself away from Hearthstone to play Child of Light. Hearthstone has taken over my free time and not free time. I just play Hearthstone all the time while the TV's on in the background. It's everything. I'm just like 7 hours in a row gone because I'm just playing.
Hi, my name is Max, and I have a Hearthstone problem.
Yeah.
Seriously, we're going to have to have an intervention.
Right, yeah, it's getting... I've only been playing it for like 6 days now, and it's been non-stop.
Not getting any more of that Hearthstone.
How much money have you spent?
None. That's
Wow.
the beauty of it. I keep unlocking more cards, and it's leveling up each class. It's amazing. It's the greatest thing ever. It's
This
so
message
good.
brought to you by Blizzard. Your friends in the entertainment industry.
Blizzard has never... I wrote a piece about this, that Blizzard has never been able to hook me with anything. Not StarCraft, not Warcraft, not Diablo. I have friends who are prisoners to those games. They can
Max,
never break
Max,
away.
do you have that cash register sound effect? You know,
Yeah, Max, will you show me on your bank history where Blizzard touched you?
I haven't paid a dime, and I don't plan on it. But I mean, who knows? That could change if I get in too deep here. But it's unbelievably good. It's game of the year all years, man.
Hearthstone's a hell of a drug.
It is. It is.
Jan, what are you playing?
I'm not really
Or
playing
reading.
anything right now. I'm reading a bunch of stuff, actually. I am finishing up Winifred Phillips's Composer's Guide to Video Game Music, which is excellent. It makes me wish I had an ounce of musical talent in my body. And I am also just finished up David Annandale's Yarick book, the next book in the Yarick series in Warhammer 40k.
So I gave up reading this week because I have way too much stuff to play. I also got hooked on Hearthstone too.
Good luck. Godspeed.
I'm not at the level that Max is, where I'm playing it 7 hours a day while watching TV at the same time. But I am playing it, and I say I was kind of skeptical about it up to the point where I got into a game. I had a kind of a noobish shaman deck, and I was going up against a warrior, and I got down bad. Like, he had 28 health plus 12 armor, and I was down to 15 health. And I came back and beat him with 4 health left.
Ooh.
At that point, I was like pumping my fists in the air, and that was like the. I hate card games. You have to understand. I do not like competitive card games like Magic or even Pokemon, for that matter. So this is like the first card game that's ever gotten me hooked, and it's damn good job, Blizzard. Other than that, I've been playing a lot of Kirby, a lot of Mario Golf, trying to squeeze in Final Fantasy XIV at the same time. It's been really tough. I have not had much time to play all these games on top of all my other fatherly and workly obligations. So squeezing them in as I can so I can get reviews in, and it's been a tough week trying to play games. So other than that, that's all I had for me. So thank you once again for everyone for joining us. Jen, where can we find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Jen Bozier. I'm actually on there again. You can also find my content on thedailycrate.com.
Jeremy.
I'm at JMPappa, P-A-P-P-A, on Twitter. I do a podcast called the Geek and Review Podcast, which you can Google. And I also write for thedailycrate.com. I have an article coming out tomorrow about the movie Equilibrium, which is an awesome movie.
Maxwell.
You can find me in the gutter, clutching an iPad.
Just one more game.
I just gotta play one more game. I found my shaman card.
That's what it'll be in a month, I'm sure. No, but you can find me in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette or on Twitter at GameGuyPGH.
And I'm Scott Grill. You can find me on Twitter at Scott Grill, on Facebook at ATL Games Examiner. We are the Furious Fourcast. You can find us pretty much anywhere on any of the social media channels. Just search for Furious Fourcast. You can also find us on iTunes, Android RSS feed, Windows Phone, and other places. We also just put out our first Game of Thrones dedicated Thrones cast. It should be up about the same time as this episode. And so go check that out. If you're wondering why we didn't talk Game of Thrones tonight, it's because we had too much stuff to talk about this week. So we split it out into its own thing, and probably will be its own thing going forward for the rest of the season. Thank you all again for watching, and have a great week. We can't wait to talk to you again next week.
Hearthstone.